Hello everyone, thank you for joining us and welcome you all to the live international webinar organized by CGC Janjeri. My name is Kamal and I look up the International Affairs Department of Chandigarh Group of Colleges Janjeri. So today we're going to have very prominent guest speakers from King's University College at Western University, Canada. We have Dr. David Malloy. He is the principal of King's University College at Western University. He has a very rich experience over 30 years in education sector. He has held various positions such as associate president, associate professor, associate vice president at University of Regina, and now the principal of King's University, Canada. So Dr. David has also published a lot of books, 6 books and 67 articles, and also he has given 80 plus conference presentations. So thank you so much, Dr. David. It's an honor for us to have you with us today, and welcome to this Sanjay CDC Live webinar.
Thank you very much.
We also have Miss Marilyn. She is the Vice Principal of Enrollment Services and Strategic Partnerships at King's University College at Western University. Welcome, ma'am.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We also have Miss Neha Dikshit. She is the License Officer of King's University, and she also represents this university as the South Asia part. And she looks up the enrollments of student recruitment. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Kamalpreet. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now from CGC, I would like to welcome Dr. Jaskiran Kaur. She is the Director of Chandigarh Group of Colleges Management Block. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Thank you, Kamal. And on behalf of complete Chandigarh Group of Colleges family and management, I welcome you all today on this platform where we are going to discuss something very important and prominent. And I would like to say it's very pertinent at this point of time. Every student is facing so much of chaos. Before Mr. David could join, I was actually discussing with Merlin ma'am also that, students are, in such a chaos at this point of time. They don't know how they are going to do it. They are no doubt present in virtual classroom, but virtual classroom can never be 100% substitute for a physical classroom they have been facing throughout their life. And this pandemic situation is one of its, what we are experiencing is a lifetime experience that the whole world is facing at the same time, same thing, and everyone is at a standstill. So today I'm actually looking forward to have such an enlightening session for my faculty and for my students also. And on behalf of Complete Management, I welcome you all on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words. So now, before we proceed, I request Ms. Marilyn to please brief us about your university rankings. How's the life of international students in your campus?
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for such a warm welcome. And I do think this topic is so timely and such an interesting time in our history. I feel very strongly about King's University College. I've spent my better part of my career at King's, the last 32 years. It's because I feel that it's such a special place. King's University College at Western University is one of the longest names of any university in the world. But I do think there's a reason why we call ourselves King's University College at Western University. And it's because we are this wonderful small liberal arts university college, the top university liberal arts college in Canada, small with 3,500 students, and yet we're part of this very prestigious, long-established, highly regarded world-class university, the University of Western Ontario. So thus the long name. We're based very much on the Oxford-Cambridge system, where you have the advantages of being part of a large, internationally recognized university, which is composed of many strong individual communities, with its own academic and social strengths. At King's, our emphasis is on the liberal arts, arts and social sciences, and management sciences. And we do that incredibly well. We have top-class scholars who are excellent teachers as well as researchers. We attract excellent, outstanding students who are both academically very strong, as well as leaders, people who want to embrace chaos and make a difference in this interesting world. Our strength, we believe, is this combination of small and large, having a welcoming, supportive community where students can thrive, and yet being part of this large university right next door, which has outstanding facilities and an incredible international reputation. We feel that we are a welcoming environment. We have great scholarships, great services, great facilities, and most importantly, great people, both our students and our faculty and our staff. As you probably know, Canada has a reputation as being very welcoming, very diverse, very multicultural. And London, where we're located, yes, London, Canada, not the other London, right beside the Thames River, the Canadian Thames River, is a very welcome and inclusive place. We feel we're stronger in Canada because we have so many individuals who've come from somewhere else. In fact, we're all newcomers to Canada, except for our Indigenous people. And that makes us a very strong place, a place of many faiths, many cultures, many backgrounds, many values. And King's is like that. We're a place where you're not only exploring your intellectual strengths, but you're also exploring your values, what you think is most important to you, how you want your life to be, how your life will make a difference. So in London, Canada, the Forest City, it's a green, beautiful, safe city. You find the King's campus in the northern part in a lovely suburb. I hope one day you'll join us here at this end of the world and see us here at King's. But for today, we are so thrilled to be welcomed by you and to be talking with the members of your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn, for the information about your wonderful university, wonderful college. So before we proceed with the topic, embracing chaos, I would like to inform the students that present situation has brought a lot of challenges in the world, right? But there are a lot of positive sides also. There are a lot of positive changes in the world which has happened due to this pandemic situation. And regarding this, I request Dr. David to please proceed with the topic, embracing chaos, and move to Dr. David.
Great, Kamal, thank you so much. I do have a short slide presentation, so I'll put that up, and I hope technology works for us. But I want to thank you so much for inviting Marilyn and I to this presentation.
It's a pleasure, sir, for us that you are with us today.
Yeah, we're thrilled to be here, and we'd love to see you join us here. Here at the banks of the Thames River, the other Thames River. So bear with me for 1 second, and okay. Can everyone see? Is that okay? We can see that?
Perfect,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, good. Right. Sorry, this is a little slow to move. Okay. We all know that the world has changed. So, whoops. Sorry, folks. There we go. We know the world has changed so much in the last 4 or 5 months. And as a function of this, of the COVID-19 situation, I mean, it certainly created incredible health concerns for the world. But it's also had a huge impact on our economies, our domestic economies, oh, now have I lost that? Sorry, Camille, my screen just went blank.
We can still see it, David.
Oh, can you? Okay, good. All right. Yes, our domestic economies, our global economies, the way it's changed, just the way we interact societally. What used to be a, for example, a very standard 9 to 5, Monday to Friday at work, or, something like that has changed completely into working from home, or if we are at work, we're working under very, very different conditions. So the old way of doing things has completely changed for us. And I think a lot of us are feeling that, yes, we're in chaos. We're almost like a boat without a rudder, and it's causing many of us to have pretty significant anxiety and stress in our daily life. So we have two options. The first option is that we can passively accept this. So as future leaders, we could maybe do nothing, just kind of follow along with the crowd, hope it goes away, and not be proactive in how we change our workplace, how we change our medical techniques, and so on. And this, if I may, I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story, an analogy, to give you a sense of kind of where I'm going with this. I'm sure you've all either seen or heard about a magician that pulls a rabbit out of a hat. Well, imagine that you are a flea on the rabbit, and the flea that is not concerned about anything but their own personal security, their benefits, being safe and sound and warm. That's the flea on the rabbit that nestles down very close to the warm skin, doesn't want to look at anything, is not curious about how that rabbit or how the rabbit is being pulled out of the hat. There's another flea that climbs up at the very edge of the fur and really wants to know how the heck that rabbit is coming out of the hat. So the second flea, I think, is like, I hope all of you and anyone who is very philosophical in their thinking, we're curious. We want to know how things are happening. We're a little bit on the edge because it's a little bit dangerous at the end of the fur, but we're still curious, and we want to explore, we want to take chances. And I think as far as our options are concerned, it's the second option that I think what we need to focus on. Now, everyone, I hope my screen has gone blank on me here, so I can't really see what you're seeing. Marilyn, can you help me out here?
It's still at the pink slide that says COVID and post-COVID world. How will you cope? How will you flourish?
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to look at my slides, and you may not be able to see them. Don't worry, the slides aren't themselves that exciting. So
we want to hear you anyway, David.
Well, hopefully that's the most important thing. So the second option is really that flea at the edge of the fur who is just so excited about understanding what the chaos is, even though it's frightening, even though it's stressful, even though it's full of anxiety. And it's all about being philosophical, and it's being curious. So one does not need to have a degree in philosophy to be philosophical. I think any of us, particularly children, are always constantly curious. And those of us that are a little bit further down the road, if we continue to be curious about what is making the world the way it is, then we are also philosophical. So if we are in this state of chaos, what is the rudder of the boat that is going to keep us keep us sane, but also keep us consistent in our decision making. And I will argue today that consistency is your own set of values. Now, values is not something that we may talk about them, but it's always in a very superficial way. Very few of us really sit down and do an audit of what is important to us. Or what are the 4 or 5 things that are central to who we are that makes us, the person that we are. And I think that's really important reflection that all of us need to do, not when we're older and we have maybe a little bit more time. It's more critical that you do that kind of value audit right now when you're a young person, because it's those values that are going to guide your behavior. And it's those values that are going to help you understand what is meaningful to you in your career and in your life.
Mr. David,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think we are not able to see your share screen. Could you please reshare it?
I will try.
Right, please try it.
Okay, that seems to work. I hope it lasts.
Yes, yes, now it's working. Thank you.
Okay. This is technology on an iPad that doesn't work as smoothly as my computer. Okay, so, well, that's good so far. So here we are. So there is a very famous Algerian philosopher. His name is Albert Camus. If you haven't read any of his work, I recommend it. It's extremely interesting. And in many of his texts, he argued that life is absurd, that there is no real meaning in life unless you ascribe meaning to it yourself. My apologies, my screen just went back to the beginning. Is that the case for everyone?
It
It's
is.
fine now.
Yes.
It's fine
Yeah.
now, please.
Okay. Apologies, students.
So we're now at option number 1, passively accept.
Okay, how about now?
And you're back to
Option
Camus,
number
which is
2.
great. Option 2.
Option number 2. Okay, well, let's hope I stay there. So if Camus is correct and life is meaningless or absurd, or the topic of our conversation, if life is chaotic, and the world is certainly chaotic right now, then how do we make meaning of it? Camus would argue, and other existential philosophers would argue, that we do this by creating our own meaning. And we can't really create our own meaning until we understand what our own values are. And that process is essentially that we have to understand what are the things that are important to us. So it's not necessarily about making money. It's what are the things that make us who we are, or the things that make us who we want to be. Okay, so the next slide, and again, I'm sorry, my technology has died on me here. So I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to have to speak rather than show you the slides. So the next slide would have said hardiness and leadership. So hardiness is essentially what we've been talking about. It's the ability to understand what your values are, and it's the ability to understand what is meaningful to you in your life and in your career. Now, a number of research studies have been conducted on hardiness, and what they have found is that individuals that do have this strong sense of personal values and have a sense of meaning in their work, particularly in their work, are much more able to survive when negative things happen to them. For example, COVID. So a high hardy person is able to withstand very difficult circumstances. So hardiness and resilience are very much similar concepts. And what it revolves around is having control over your environment, being challenged by your environment, and being committed to your work. Those things can happen when you do find yourself in a position or in a job that is meaningful to you. If you're not committed to your work, it has less meaning. If you're not challenged by your work, it has less meaning. If you don't embrace chaos, then your work may not have as much meaning. So if you are able to do this value audit, if you're able to better understand what kind of career that you're looking at, whether you're an accountant or whether you're a person working in finance, what difference can you make in terms of your workplace and helping others become hardy or helping others find meaning? So we at King's, we talk about this quite a bit. And one of the differences that we argue what we do here is that not only are our students extremely well educated, but they're also aware of that added importance of helping other people find meaning. So whether one has a degree from the Indian Institute of Management or Cambridge or University of British Columbia or King's University, all of you are very, very well-educated people. The difference that we try to instill at King's is that we also try to help you find meaning, as well as help you help others find meaning. So philosophers will call this existential courage. And this is the ability to stay true to your own value set, to be authentic, but then also to help others uncover their value orientation as well. I would guess that many of you are aware of the Greek philosopher Socrates, who suggested he didn't teach anyone anything, but what he did is he tried to pull answers out of people by asking them questions. So your role as a leader of meaning would be to help people, or to ask them questions and help them find meaning in their work. So at King's, our motto is that we're a place to be and a place to become. And as I mentioned before, our mission is to provide you with a first-class academic education, but we also want to be a place where you can come here and be who you are, but also come here and be a place where you can become the person that you want to be. We want to be a place where you can explore your values, where you can develop that courage to chase after a career that fosters meaning for yourself and for those who you will lead in these crazy times of COVID chaos, I guess the post-crazy times of COVID chaos, and into the future. So this is, interestingly, my interest in these sorts of ideas about value and leadership and meaning and leadership really started to gel for me in, I think it was 1997 or 1996, and I spent 3 weeks at the Indian Institute for Management in Calcutta, where we spent 3 weeks studying Hindu values and how they impact on leadership. And whether it's Hindu values or Catholic values or even Muslim values, putting those things into decision-making practice is, I think, a really important way of thinking, and it grounds us. Because if we're making decisions that aren't value-based, then there's no consistency. We really don't know where, if we're in a boat, we really don't know where we're floating. But if we can make value or decisions based on values that we have thought about, that we've considered, that are true to ourselves, then we can make consistent decisions and be meaningful leaders and meaningful employees. And again, maybe the most important thing for you as leaders is to help others find that meaning. Getting goals and objectives accomplished is important, but I would contend that those are secondary objectives. The primary objective for any leader is to help them understand their value set and to create meaning in their work. And then once you have that, those organizational goals that we all have to accomplish almost become secondary. So I think I'll stop there. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I could talk about this for not only hours, I could talk about this for days. I'm very passionate about the notion of values and leadership. And I think more than ever in this COVID chaos is a time for leadership. I spoke to our graduating class in the spring of this year and said to them, there has never been a better time to be a leader because the world is chaotic. So the world needs each and every one of you. We really do. But in order for you to be effective, you really need to understand what you value in life, what you value in your career, and what you value in other people. And again, there's never been a more exciting and a better time for leadership. And I challenge each and every one of you to embrace this chaos and see where it leads you. So with that, I'll stop, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I apologize for the technology.
Kamal, you need to unmute.
Thank you, Dr. David, for your words about this present situation. So we'll have the Q&A session after we know more about your university programs. So I request the students also, if they have any questions regarding the present situation, how they deal with this situation, you can put it on the YouTube comment section. And after the presentation about your university, we'll have the Q&A with Dr. David and all the speakers. So I request now Neha Dikshit to please speak about your programs of university.
Thank you, Kamal. And first of all, I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, as Kamal has introduced me before, my name is Neha Dikshit, and I look after South Asia operations for King's University College at Western University. And let me just quickly share my screen because I'm going to talk about our program offerings and our admission requirements and the tuition fee, and of course, the kind of a scholarship you can expect from King's. So let me just quickly share the screen with you. Okay. Yeah. So I hope you can view my screen. And I'll start with a quick presentation about King's or an introduction about King's. So King's is founded in 1954, and King's University College at Western University is a Catholic liberal arts university college affiliated with a large world-class university. So the students who are studying at King's, of course, enjoy the both of both worlds, as mentioned by Marilyn earlier. So small classes led by outstanding faculty on a small, beautiful campus, while enjoying the experience of being part of a comprehensive university. And the students who are studying at King's, after completion of the program, they will receive their final degree from University of Western Ontario. So King students have complete access to all the facilities and services at Western University, and of course, a graduate with a Western degree. And King's is recognized both nationally and internationally for its excellent academic programs, generous scholarships, comprehensive student services, which I'm going to talk about at the later part of the presentation. And at King's, the students are getting the opportunity to study in a world famous university because Western being the part of top 10 comprehensive universities of Canada and business and liberal arts, it ranked number 5th. Also at King's, you're allowed to take double major or minor with each program. So we do have programs related to business and liberal arts. So in the second year of the program, you are allowed to take your specialization. So even if you're not sure, while applying to the program, like which subject to take, don't worry. Our counseling team on campus will help you to decide which major and minors will help you to accomplish your academic goals.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt you, Neha ma'am. Can you please switch on your camera also? We're not able to see you.
I can, but it might be a distracting because I'm showing the presentation. But if you want me to, of course, I can.
Okay, you can try. Otherwise, it's fine.
Just a second. Okay. Is it fine now?
Yes, this is fine now.
Okay, great. Sorry about this, everyone. And of course, I should mention about our class size. We have a very small class size and our student and faculty ratio, which is 24:1, because I'm sure as an international student, you would like to have a detailed discussion about your programs and about any courses with your faculty members or with your classmate. So this small class size will give you this opportunity to have an intensive discussion with the faculty members. And also the only drawback I can see here, you cannot miss your classes. You cannot afford to do that because every professor knows you by your name. It helps you to build a good reputation with your faculty members and a personalized relationship. Because anyways, you're not just going to spend your 4 years with Kings, but Kings is like a family. And for Kings, of course, you are not just the student, but a family member. Then we have a supporting community or comprehensive student services on campus. So whenever you have any problem related to your program, or if you have any question related to immigration, working part-time on campus or off campus, we have a team to help you. Starting with our program offering. So as I mentioned earlier, King's is a business and liberal arts school of University of Western Ontario. So we are offering 4-year undergraduate program in business and liberal arts. Starting with our first program, this is Bachelor of Arts, 4-year undergraduate program. And I try to list some of the specialization which the student can take in year second. So while making the application, you just have to apply to the program. Don't worry about the major and minors. Our team on campus, our advising team will help you to decide which major and minors will be a value addition for you. Moving on to our next program, which is social sciences. So again, we have 4-year undergraduate degree in social sciences, and you may select psychology, criminology, or maybe economics or finance as a specialization. Then our business program, of course, one of the most popular program for students from India. And I'm sure being an international student, you would like to know about the internship opportunity or co-op option with this program. So the unique point about this program, this MOS program offers an industry internship program for students interested in practical experience before completing their program. So as an intern, students spend 8 to 16 months working in industry between their 3rd and 4th year of their Bachelor's of Management and Organizational Studies. Now, many employers find this program is even better than a traditional co-op program, as it gives the employer a longer time to assess the student, and the students are able to work on advanced project and see them through the beginning to end. Moving on to our next program, which is Finance and Wealth Management. So we are running this program with collaboration with Fanshawe College. So the student who would like to make their career in finance and wealth management, this is the ideal program for them. After completion of this program, the student will get 4-year collaborative degree in Bachelor of Arts in Finance from Western University, and a business finance 2-year diploma from Fanshawe College. Our next program, which is Social Justice and Peace Studies. So as a part of interdisciplinary program, this program is one of the only programs in Canada that combines the study and work of both justice and peace. So this program is mainly focusing on critically examines the root cause of social justice and violence in the society and in our community or in the world. So it innovatively explore alternative to injustice and violence by how to build peace and justice. Moving on to our admission requirements. So we are looking for grade 12, the average percentage we are looking for is 73. And mathematics is not the mandatory criteria for any of the programs. And of course, as we are looking for a collaboration going further, so of course we have to go for the course mapping, like how many credits you may be eligible for, so that we can discuss as per your profile. So feel free to share your profile for the evaluation while applying to King's. In terms of English language requirements, we do accept IELTS, TOEFL, and PTE. And our minimum requirements for IELTS is overall 6.5 bands with no section less than 6. The application process is very easy. So it's an online application. This is the link for the application, which I'm going to share with you. And you have to apply this credential while submitting your application. And once you're done with your application, you have to share the relevant document, your transcripts on my email address, which I'll be sharing at the end of the presentation. Talking about the money matters, which is of course the important factor. So for a business program, our tuition fee is 45,000 Canadian dollars. And for other program for social sciences and arts, it's 36,000 Canadian dollars per year. And for residences, so we do offer on-campus residences to all our international students. So once you're fully accepted at King's, you have to apply for the residences. And the fee for our on-campus residences is 13,000 Canadian dollars with the meal plan. Moving on to the reward, which is of course, again, an interesting part all the international students would like to know what kind of a monetary benefit or the reward they can expect from an institution. So we are quite liberal about the scholarships, and it is completely based on your academics. So our scholarships are ranging from $10,000 to $16,000. Once you will apply to the program, we will auto consider your profile, but these scholarships are very limited in terms of numbers. So your profile needs to be very outstanding in terms of academic and in terms of non-academic achievements, like any extracurricular activity will be an added advantage to your profile. And of course, once you are accepted at King's, you would like to know the residential part where you can stay. So I will not call it residences or hostel. I will rather prefer to say it your home at King's, because we definitely would like treat our student as a family member. So you will not be just a student for us, you are like a family member. So King's is like a family. So we do have on-campus residences, and King's University College provide on-campus housing for approximately 400 students. Living in residence put you next door to all the facilities at King's, like food services, library, your classes, and all other extracurricular activities. And double rooms are the standard accommodation for first year student, but for this academic year, all residences room will be single rooms. And King's is very pleased to have students from around the world living in residences. Typically, 35% of our residents are international students. If we'll talk about the total strength of King's right now, so currently King's is home to approximately 35 full and part-time students from across Canada, as well as 35 other countries. So you can imagine the kind of a diversity we have on our campus. So once you start staying on campus, of course, you have the option to make new friends, meet the students from different community or from different countries. And this is the best part about King's, because we also know that upper year students often want to support and convenience of residence with more flexible meal plan option. And so please do apply for the residences when you have the acceptance from King's. And of course, how can I forget about our students and support services on campus? Being an international student, you might face difficulty in getting adjusted in the new country or in the new environment. So what Kings are doing, we are providing comprehensive student services on campus, starting from personal counseling, going to career counseling, and do we have Right Place? So if I'll just give you an example what the Right Place does. So the Right Place is staffed by friendly King's faculty members, ready to provide assistance with any aspect of writing. Whether you want help with clear writing, maybe you need help for thesis writing, maybe grammar, or maybe organizing an argument, or just want to talk about an assignment before you get started. So at any stage in the writing place, the writing center is the place to come. You can just book an appointment and meet our faculty members, and the person will help you. Same goes for the other student support services we have, whether you have question about working on campus, you have question regarding immigration or visa related queries, we'll be there to support you. And that's all about King's University College at Western University. This is my contact details, my email address and phone number. Feel free to get in touch with me for any further information regarding King's. So that's all from my end. Over to you, Kamal.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the information about your university. Definitely, we can seek some kind of collaboration with your university. And because, as you know, that you're from India, as you know, that people specifically from the state Punjab, they're very much interested for the country Canada, right? So we can definitely look some sort of collaboration, maybe some articulations, maybe some exchange programs, as per the suggested by Ms. Marilyn and by you. About the questions of topic, I have received some students' questions. So I would like to ask that what are the measures taken by the government of Canada to to control this present pandemic situation? Because in India, as we see that there are different phases of lockdown, there are different strategies opted by the government to control this situation. What are the measures taken by the government of Canada, or how you see the challenges over there?
Marilyn, would you like me to answer that,
Yeah.
or would you like to answer that?
You please, you can start and then I can add if I wish, please.
Okay, sure. So in Canada, we have 10 provinces, and London is located in the province of Ontario. So we have directions from the federal government, of course, but we also have our health system run by the provincial government. So particularly at King's, we have very strict social distancing guidelines on campus, so that when students do come here, everyone on campus must wear a mask. If you're going into a place of business, you must wear a mask. And when you're anywhere, whether it's outside or in a building, you've got to maintain a 6-foot distance between you and another person. We have testing sites available on main campus at Western, and we also have testing available through the London Middlesex Health District. So we have gone through, we're in the 3rd phase of the COVID, I guess, recovery phase. And the whole province is under that 3rd phase, where we have businesses open, we have restaurants open, but all of them are under very strict social distancing guidelines, including mask wearing. So Canada is not comparable at all to the United States. We have approached this in a very different way, and as a consequence, our the number of cases that we have is very much lower. The trend is flatlined at very few cases right across the country. So in general, I mean, COVID is everywhere in the world right now. Of course, it's in Canada, but we are from the very get-go, from the very beginning, our government was very responsible about how we approached this pandemic, and as a consequence, we're in very good shape. Elementary and public schools are still planning to return in September. At King's, we're offering a blended program where there will be some face-to-face classes available. So we've been prudent, we've been cautious as a university, as a city, as a province, and as a country. We've been I think we've done very well.
So you have the rotational students, like there is a batch of students of like some students come in the morning, some come in the evening session, or how the students are managing over there the education? Because in
For
India,
classes,
there's the online learning. The students are getting the online classes or something. What are the methods you guys are opting over there?
Yeah, so we're using a blended approach. Some of the classes are completely online.
Okay.
And we're using the terms synchronous and asynchronous. So an asynchronous class is one way. You know, the lectures are recorded and you know, they're put on PowerPoint and they're sent out without much interaction between students. Now there would be interaction outside of class, but the asynchronous is really one direction. We have then synchronous classes where lectures are being given, but there's open interaction, just like on a Zoom conversation like we're having with students. And then we will have some face-to-face as well. And in those cases, and it really depends on the professor, some students might come in Monday and the other half of the classroom may come in on Wednesday. So it's a mix, and we want to provide as much flexibility to the students as possible. We recognize that you know, ideally we would love to have students here and everybody be safe and COVID would go away. But that's not what we have, but we're trying to do as best we can with the students, staff, and faculty's health as our primary concern. So regardless of which mode of education we're doing it with the utmost concern for everyone's health. Marilyn, did I miss anything?
Absolutely. We're really trying to, as you said, provide kind of lots of alternatives and choices. And that's true for both our Canadian students and our international students. Some will want to be on campus and take courses in classrooms. Others would prefer to be home and take them on Zoom. So we have both. And so we also have students joining us this month before the start of classes to self-isolate for a couple of weeks before classes start. We have others who have been unable to come at the beginning of term. Some may join in September or October. Some may wait until the beginning of the next term in January. Some will start online. Some will wait till they can come in person. We're trying to be really flexible to meet the individual needs and wishes of our students. And also, of course, as we were saying, because it's a little chaotic, we're trying to be flexible and be able to pivot
Great.
and be able to respond to the best needs of our community. So flexibility is our new middle name. And I think really what that means is that we are student-centered and we're community-centered. So our people are most important. So we will do what they need and what's best for everyone's welfare. I would add with David's comments about the differences between Canadian and American culture. I think Canada is a very community-oriented culture. It's less individualistic. I think it probably has to do with our history. It probably has to do with some of our British roots, that we perhaps think more of a social context rather than individual rights. Not that you aren't free here and you don't have autonomy, but in Canada, it's funny. Someone said, well, how do you get people to agree to wear a mask? Well, you say please, and they wear a mask. That's Canada.
Well,
You
you
know,
say sorry
it's
first.
sorry first. You have to apologize and stand in line and back up and let the American be loud first. But then the Canadian backs up and smiles and says, sorry, but would you please wear a mask? And you wear a mask. That's kind of Canada, and that's kind of Kings. When you know each other and you know each other by name and you see each other all the time, like you do at your college, you take care of each other, right?
Great.
So that's what community, that's what family is about.
Great. So it's a great measure. So as we see that, the word, people always say COVID is all negative. It's a lot of negative things. It has destroyed the economy. It has destroyed the countries. But I believe that there are a lot of positive changes in the world which this situation has brought. Like, for example, there was a time when people just thinking about the whole world will be on the click of a mobile. So like now online learning is, people are doing this using the technology. They're upgrading themselves. It has reduced the environment pollution, and moreover, there were some people who did not give, to the time to their family, who did not balance their lifestyle. So now this situation has made the people learn about that they should, balance the lifestyle. They should have, the
Absolutely. I totally agree, Kamal. Before we started as a total panel, Dr. Carr and I were talking about that there are some good things that have come out of COVID. It does, as Dave said, it does remind you what's most important to you, what your values really are. And when you look carefully at what is most important to you, who is most important to you, then I think that really puts us back grounded and to center. And I think that's something I hope we all remember when things do return to normal. And that I also hope that we all maybe continue to be not quite as crazy fast as we were, and maybe be a little bit more thoughtful and slow. I don't mind that the air is a little cleaner and there's less traffic, and that my flowers are growing better than they ever have because I actually water them every day. So those are the things that are joy, right? So out of some bad comes good. I'm the eternal optimist, but I think most of us are at heart.
I think this, after this situation, the world will have a lesson that, how the life has changed, what are the changes that they have brought in this world. So in the optimistic side, it is something, it made the changes. But I also would like to know, what are the suggestions that you will give to the students of India about how to, deal with this situation, how to, focus to their studies, how to balance their life. What are the suggestions that you give to the students?
I'll take a stab at that, I guess.
Sir, sorry to distract you. Sorry to distract you. Sir, you're a great expertise. I have seen you are a very rich experience in the education industry. So we would like to know, the students would like to know that what are your suggestions, what you want the students, what they should focus on their education. What are the main things, what are the key skills they should focus on? Should they focus on communication skills, or should they focus on values? So what are your suggestions to the students?
Well, my suggestions right now for the students is number one, absolutely take care of yourselves and take care of your family. And that's not only moral support for each other, but I think, it's as simple as making sure that we get outside, we get some exercise. I know Marilyn and I spend far too many hours in front of our computers on Zoom calls. I'm enjoying this very much, but we're doing a lot of this, and there are almost days that we don't get a chance to walk any further than to the kitchen and get a coffee and then come back to our Zoom conversation. So I encourage all of the students as much as possible. Really think about your health and obviously the health of your family. So that's number one. Second, well, as you know, I'm a zealot about this, but I think this is a time to reflect on what's important, and to reflect on what you value, and to really understand who you are and where you want to go. Because we're all somewhat confined, this is really a wonderful opportunity for us to really reflect on exactly who we are and who we want to be and what our next steps are. But as far as skill sets concerned, communication, I think, is always critical. To be a clear communicator, particularly to be a good writer. That's so important. And that's something that, whether you're a student in India or whether you're a student in Ireland or whether you're a student here in Canada, your writing skills are extremely important, as well as your oral skills. And as I mentioned before, the skills that you acquire through your education, regardless of where you go, they're important, of course. I mean, if you're going to be an economist, you need to be a good economist. If you're going to be in finance, you need to be good in finance. But you also need to think in the broader picture of how what you do as an economist or as a manager, how what you do impacts the people around you, and what contribution can you make to them finding meaningful careers and a meaningful life. So skills, you can almost learn them anywhere. We want you to come here to learn those skills, but I think the key is values and how you put those skills into action for the betterment of the people that you work for, the people that work for you, and for your community at large.
Okay, great, sir. So have you been to India?
Yes, I have. I've been to India 3 times. I mentioned earlier I've been to Calcutta.
How do you like India, sir?
I loved India, and I've been to Chennai twice.
Oh, great.
So once I was there as a student in Calcutta, and then my own research. So I look at the effect of religion and culture on ethical decision making in healthcare. So I was in Chennai on 2 different occasions, collecting data from doctors and nurses. So India is fascinating. I read about Indian scholars, Vivekananda. It's a wonderful place, very near and dear to my heart.
It's full of festivals, it's full of culture, sir, in India.
Yeah.
So definitely we'll look forward. We'll like to have Miss Marilyn also in the campus once the situation settles down, and definitely you as well in the campus. And Neha Dikshit will invite all of you. So let's see how the situation, when the situation settles down.
Okay.
So
well, I have to mention
Canada
Indian.
once.
I have to mention Indian food.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I would eat Indian food every day if I could.
Me too. It's my favorite cuisine. I've only had the pleasure of being in India once, which was a couple years ago for 2 weeks. And I have been to the Punjab and Chandigarh, and I loved it. I can tell you what I ate where I was there because I'm a real foodie, and I am not a vegan or a vegetarian. But when I was in India, I was, because if people cooked food, vegetarian or vegan here like they do in India, I would be a vegan and a vegetarian. The food was amazing. And I had a wonderful time. The hospitality and the warmth of my reception in India was amazing. And I can hardly wait to be in India again and visit you at your campus.
Definitely, it will be great for us when you visit in our campus. And Miss Marilyn, how we can collaborate? Like, what are the possibilities? Because our students are interested for Canada, right? So we
Right.
want like we have a very good, you have very good university, very good, the culture
Yeah.
of this of your the campus. So what are the possible collaborations with CGC? Or how do you think? What are your suggestions?
I think the possibilities are endless. I think today's conversation that we've shared as a panel shows that we have the same approach on life and in education. So I think that there's amazing possibilities. I would love to talk about exchanges. I would love to talk about short-term education, perhaps joint programming, 2+2 transfer. I think that it all the possibilities are there. It's a matter of us continuing conversations like we're having this evening and making some things happen. Don't you agree, David? I think
Absolutely.
let's do it.
Absolutely. And I would love to see
And we have
exchanges going both ways too.
absolutely,
Sure, sir. That will
absolutely.
be great.
Yeah. Yes. And we're so fortunate we have Nihal right there along with our team, and together we're a very strong team with both our feet both in the ground in India as well as Canada. So that's great. That's the next conversation.
Yeah.
Sure. That will be great, definitely, when we see our students in your campus, and definitely we can see some sort of collaboration. So I think that's all from our side. So we are just enjoyed the session. It was really wonderful. It's a really honor to have you with us today. So thank you so
Pleasure.
much, Dr.
From
David. Thank you so much, Miss Marilyn.
complete
And
CGC family. Kamal, I'll just take it over. I have
okay,
few
I forward.
things to ask Mr. David. David, I want to know that since you have started, after this COVID, now you have into the third stage. We are still going towards that. We are actually hitting the peak in next 1 month's time. I want to know what kind of protocols you have set for the faculty and the students. Okay, social distancing, mask and other sanitization process and checking. These are the basic things. What are the critical areas that you have seen so that students should gain confidence while they're coming to the campus?
I think maybe one of the things that have really impressed me so far with the way that the staff has reacted to this. Our campus was spotless before COVID, like really spotless. One of the first things I noticed when I came to campus is the shine on the floor as I walked down the hall. But that has ramped up even further. So, the hand washing stations, the lines on the floor, plexiglass at receptionist counters. And I think Marilyn was bang on when she said that I think Canadians kind of tend to do this anyway. We're very respectful of of other people's distances, and the whole notion of wearing a mask. There's no protest. Well, there might be a few crazy people that are protesting wearing masks, but by and large, we're very respectful of mask wearing. We have had campaigns throughout the summer. I put out a weekly message on what our COVID current situation is and what protocols are happening. We're limiting space for social gatherings. We have, in case there's a COVID breakout by 1 student or 10 students, we have quarantining situations already established.
What kind of social gatherings you will be planning? Because some events are there, because when I have seen Neha ma'am was giving a presentation, so there are so many such courses in which you are going to have a practical, like psychology is there, you have to interact with the people. How you are going to manage this on the campus?
Well, we are doing, we have a social work program as well, and maybe I can speak about that in terms of experiential learning. We are doing that, and we have been doing that since the spring online. So social work is a very intimate kind of practice, as you well know, and we've looked at Zoom protocols and meeting protocols to ensure privacy of that kind of interaction, because in courses like social work, of course, there's very personal things that are discussed. So we still can have those face-to-face interactions, but they will happen under very strict social distancing guidelines. But we haven't shut any of those down yet, because whatever we can do online, we will do online under very tight privacy restrictions, and whatever interaction we have on campus, then we follow protocol. So
I think one thing that's,
yeah,
I was going to say, David, I wanted to mention, you mentioned we have these updates from Dave every week. They're both verbal as well as written. And I think it's built real trust and constant communication, that people feel aware of everything that's happening. One of the things first David did too was to build an advisory group that had stakeholders from all of our different groups. And that was an opportunity twice a week for people from all parts of the community to get together with Dave and to talk about what they're thinking about and concerned about, and to bring experts in and discuss. So everybody's felt like they've been part of the discussion and part of the solution. And I think that's really important. It's been very time consuming, I know, and very difficult, but at the same time, I think very productive.
Very need of an hour, that the regular counseling and keeping them motivated. I was talking in the initial phase with Merlin ma'am, and I could see how positive she is, and her attitude must be bringing that positivity and freshness to the students. So the last question I want to ask both of you, because you both are nicely teamed up, that how you are setting up a counseling sessions, because we are also planning to start the session. So how you are doing it when students are offline, means we are following a blended learning. So they are not physically in the campus. That connectivity, somewhere it is not 100%, but students are getting the material. Sometimes they are joining the virtual classroom, sometimes not. So how we are going to reach at that potential, at least 80% of the potential?
It's very, very difficult. And of course, we've had our challenges and still are. We're trying to record all of the sessions so that they're posted, so that people can get at them if there's a time difference or there's a connectivity problem. And we all know that that can happen if you're 15 minutes away from each other or 7.5 hours apart. I mean, we saw that tonight. But at the same time, yesterday during our admin meeting, where we were all within an hour of each other, we had some of the same issues. So it's really it's an issue that is just a technical reality. So we're stumbling at times, but we just keep at it. We have a very good team in our ITS, our technology services. We've also developed something very interesting this summer we've never done before, because we were not online people. We were classroom community. And so we called it Moving Online, MOP. And they little teams would work with faculty. One person would be an IT expert, one person would be a pedagogy expert, and then the content expert, of course, was the faculty member. And so they've been working together really, really hard to bring their courses online. But to be honest with you, Dr. Carr, it's still new to us, because our first inclination is to be in class. And to be honest too, our students prefer to be in class. So we're doing our best. We're trying to recreate as much as we can the experience that would be in the classroom, but it has its issues. And we'll be in full session in 2 weeks. And when we should talk again, Dave and Dr. Carr and myself, because we'll be talking about some of the new issues that will be happening every day.
This is a time of, this is a type of collaboration even I am planning, that if we can at least exchange each other's problems and came up with a solution, that will be a ready recurrent for you. Sometimes you have dealt with something that will be a ready recurrent for us. It was a wonderful session indeed, and I think we'll stay connected. Kamal will be, a bridging stone between us, and he'll make us connected. Thank you so much, Neha ma'am. Very well explained. And next time I would like you to explain CGC Janjeri also, because we also have wonderful USPs. Why I'm saying is, we have already sent a student to, Concordia University as a semester exchange. So I'll appreciate if some kind of those proposals come in and student motivatedly go there, and their students also come here. So that kind of a collaboration is going to be joint venture.
Very much so.
Sure,
Very much
Dr.
so.
Kaur, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to, of course, meet you and the students. And thanks to you, Kamalpreet, for all the coordination. You are very supportive,
Thank
and
you.
of course, I would like to be in touch with you for further steps.
Thank you,
So,
my pleasure is all mine.
and whenever the situation will be fine, of course, I will come on campus and meet every one of you.
Me too.
Thank you
Me,
so
me,
much.
It's a
me as
pleasure.
well.
Thank you for having this hour with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care, everyone.
Thank you,
Be
sir.
Be in
safe.
touch.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Nia. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kamal.
Marilyn.
Bye.
Bye, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Kamalpreet.